The season finale to the greatest Star Wars show to ever exist still doesn't exist because, well, this is Disney Plus, and this is the Acolyte season finale. Yes, guys, episode 8 of The Boss Acolyte has hit Disney Plus finally, and I'm here to honor a franchise, a fallen franchise, that is, in the form of Star Wars. So I ask you all in the comments to not only drop a like, a subscribe, and a comment, but to take a moment of silence for a franchise that was once great and perhaps may yet still be one day. Perhaps is the key word because it's Disney. Anyways, moment of silence.
On that note,
Star Wars lies dead. How did it die? Let's take a look.
I want to ask you both because this is, I would say, arguably the gayest Star Wars, I think, by a considerable margin. And are you excited about that? Are you embracing yourself?
Star Wars. Not the
It's pretty gay, let's be honest.
Not true. That's impossible.
Search your feelings. You know it to be true.
Okay, that's enough silence. It doesn't deserve more than that. Guys, this is episode 8. It's called The Acolyte. That's the name of the episode and the show. So we're going to find out who truly is the Acolyte in this episode. And we're going to break this down, dive right into the episode scene by scene. So grab your seats, hold on to your popcorn, and maybe we might need some whiskey for this one, to be honest. I think it's a good idea. So pour one out. Cheers. And let's do this. The episode begins with a cosplaying young dark Jedi fallen Sith warrior acolyte lady in a Lego Star Wars helmet. Seriously, this thing is way too big for her. And yes, none of that made sense, but it's okay because we're talking about a show that also doesn't make sense. Anyways, the helmet seems to have taken hold of her, maybe possessing her with dark spirits.
Moshe.
Not sure why, not sure how. It just is. Seriously, I don't know what this vision is, but they both become possessed by this spirit or a vision of the future. It's very unclear. And just like my suit and my soul after watching this show, his eyes go completely black. It kind of reminds me of the lesbian witch possession with Torben, but we're not exactly sure what it is. We see him battling in this other world, and just like the Torben possession, everything goes sort of dark around them. After a lot of grunting and moaning and several neck veins later, he finally grabs the helmet and manages to take it off of Osha's head. We can see in her eyes this glowing red. We're not sure what that is either. Are they Sith eyes? Sith eyes are typically yellow. Correct me if I'm wrong. So again, just another Disney Star Wars piece of bullshit thrown in to confuse you and make you think about nothing.
May. I saw May.
Oh, she saw May. Okay, cool. So, plot device. It gave us the location of her sister so that she can conveniently meet up with her for the end of the show. Darth Underbite then talks about the final task, killing with no weapon, and I guess he thinks that May is finally going to complete her task and come to the dark side with him.
She was killing Soul.
This is the future you saw. She can kill with no weapon.
But Osha says the future is not yet written.
But the future isn't fixed. I can still stop her.
With what ship? I'm taking mine.
Yeah, you're taking yours? You have no clue where she even is. Are you just going to guess? I don't know. This is purely arbitrarily written by stupid writers who just want a little bit of conflict in their scene to make something more interesting. Because seriously, where is he going to go?
I'm going where exactly? I've seen where they are.
Now, she has the location, obviously, because the plot needs her to. That's why she had an arbitrary force vision inside the helmet for no explained reason. And so they conclude that they're going to go together.
So we go together
But what's their plan once they get there?
and see who gets to her first.
Oh, they're going to get to the planet where her sister is, and they're going to have a nice little foot race to see who can get to her first. Well, I know you could also say that they're talking mentally, who's going to get to her first mentally, but all we've been able to see really is this guy overpower everybody he meets. So is it really going to be that much of a struggle? Who knows? It sounds really dumb. We're going to go to her planet and we're going to race to see who gets to your sister first. Like, what a great plot. We're starting off hot on this episode. Holy shit. We then cut to Sol and May in his ship floating over the planet Brendok, I believe.
Where are we?
Brendok.
Confirmed, Brendok. Now, why do we need to go there? Let's find out.
I will contact Master Vanestra. The Jedi will meet us here.
Okay, so he's going to have the Jedi meet them there. That's great. And now, tell us why.
Why?
There is a version on this planet. Now that you and Osha are both alive, I can prove it.
Okay, so you need to get May and Osha to the planet to prove it, or do you just need to get them anywhere in the world together at the same time to prove it? Maybe somewhere like Coruscant? Not sure. And how do you plan on getting them both together? Are you the one that planted that vision somehow across the galaxy into the helmet? We have no clue. He just thinks that it's a good idea to be on Brendok, and maybe the sister will show up. Now, notice how May here has her handy pip droid sidekick, and it just so happens to be perfectly level with her handcuffs and perfectly capable of unlocking almost anything in the galaxy. As we've seen before, it unlocks high security prison doors. It unlocks her handcuffs here in perfect timing. I don't know. It's just a meta droid. May then takes a stab at Sol, saying he's going to have to prove that killing her mother was justified.
Proof what? That murdering our mother was justified?
Now, here's the problem for May. All he has to do is let any of the Jedi at the council or Vernestra herself read his mind, and then she's going to find out that, yeah, her mother was a murderous-looking psychopath who possessed Padawans and turned into a shitstorm cloud to attempt to, I don't know, apparate into the Force with May, possibly killing them both. We don't know. Sol didn't know. It just looked like a violent move on behalf of the mother, and all he had left to do was kill her to defend everybody there. Also, they possessed Kelnaka and tried to use a Jedi to kill other Jedi, so if any of this is revealed, it's going to be Sol who's set free. She has no leverage in this.
What happened to you, to your coven, was an accident.
If it was an accident, then why didn't you tell Osha?
Yeah, if it was an accident, why didn't you tell Osha? I think that he didn't tell Osha so that the plot could drag on for 8 episodes and they could spend $180 million for absolutely no reason. Makes sense to me. Sol then talks about having seen May start the fire, but I don't remember if he actually ever saw her start the fire. Maybe he just assumed, or maybe somebody told him. Let me know in the comments, because I actually have no idea if this is a giant plot hole. Did he actually ever see her starting the fire? They then have a nothing burger argument where they just keep saying the same thing.
You locked everyone in.
Because the Jedi invaded our home. Everyone in there died because of the 4 of you.
The Jedi are at fault. No, we're not. The Jedi are at fault. No, we're not. It's just outrageous. They don't go into any more detail. It's a surface level conversation at best.
My biggest regret is that I wasn't able to save you both.
Ah, yes. His biggest regret is he failed to use the Force on the girls instead of the bridge, and he let May get sucked down a vacuum hole, which we'll find out later. Yes, it was a vacuum hole that saved her life. He then drops a big bomb on May here.
You and Osha are not twins. You're not even sisters.
But just like every other part of the show, as soon as Sol starts to get to the juicy details, the plot stops him from talking.
You're...
That's a character theme here with him, and it's going to continue all the way until the end of the episode, frustratingly. He never gets to say his piece. I guess that's Sol's biggest flaw, is he can't finish a sentence. Anyway, she conveniently unlocks her straps and her handcuffs, and Sol is not able to sense any of this with his Jedi mind powers, so he falls prey to her taser. Anyways, May is able to escape and conveniently get into an escape pod. She stands here for about 15 seconds, and still, Sol can't catch up or use the Force on her to stop her. Seriously, he's right there. Use the Force, stop her. But no, he's going to have to burn in hell and meet May at a later date.
See you in hell, Jedi.
She takes the escape pod and she gets the hell out of there. And we get the title card. The Boss Acolyte. I'm never going to live that one down, am I, guys? Sol sees her escaping and he makes for the cockpit, pursuing her. They get into a chase in this asteroid belt surrounding the planet, but something goes wrong for Soul that I still can't explain to this day. Sniffling Badger Boy here, Rocket Raccoon's boyfriend, decides to eat some wires. Or, I don't think he eats them, but he at least tears them apart. Apparently, he wants to sabotage Soul's mission, and now he's on May's side. This causes his ship to go spiraling out of control, which then in tandem hits May's ship and causes her to spiral out of control. But don't worry, this is Disney Star Wars, and they both simultaneously somehow land perfectly fine on the planet. And then we cut to Coruscant, the most exciting part of the show. We see Jedi Master Piccolo here and Soy Boy Jedi Mog having a little chat.
Master Benestra, Senator Raincourt's here to see you. He's in there.
You let him in the control room?
Apparently it's a huge no-no to let a senator in the control room, but all he wants to do is have a chat with you. What do you think he's going to do? Go rogue and start pushing buttons everywhere? Why are you so mad at Mog? Let my Soy Boy Jedi go here. He's just a sweet little Mog. She then does the classic force push the door open. Well, it's just a button, so it's not as cool, but still, nice. Seriously, there is barely anything going on in this control room. Why is she so upset that he was able to get into this specific room? Makes no sense. Senator Chad here makes a funny comment about her hyperspace car sickness.
I was surprised when they said you were traveling through hyperspace. How was your stomach?
And she corrects him.
It's my head, actually. And I'm fine.
I guess her head gets funny when she goes into hyperspace. I don't know. Maybe she gets a nice breeze on it and it makes her uncomfortable. I mean, she is bald after all. Senator Chad has watched the previous 7 episodes, so he tells Venestra this.
I've heard some disturbing things.
What have you heard?
That you are running a murder investigation without reporting it to the Senate.
He wants to investigate because it might affect the wider Republic and Senate if there are a bunch of rogue Jedi or potentially Sith going around murdering Jedi. Those are dangerous people, and you might want to keep a watch on them.
I'm keeping this internal for the moment. I have the authority to take independent action if there's no larger threat.
How can you know there is no larger threat?
All the victims were Jedi.
Ah, yes. There's no larger threat to the Senate because the Senate's police force are the victims. So let's do the math here. If all the victims are Jedi and all the future victims will be Jedi, then somebody is going after the right hand of the Senate, being the Jedi, seeing as they are one of the main peacekeepers in the galaxy. And if you don't have a lot of your main peacekeepers left, then how do you keep the peace? So that is exactly what a larger threat is, you absolute moron picklehead Lady Shrek. Senator Chad tries to get more information, but like a true bitch, she just refuses.
I am very close to apprehending the suspect.
Is the suspect a Jedi?
Very close. Thank you for your concern.
We then find out that she's got a personal dog in this fight against the Senate, and that's why she's hiding everything. She's taking this all personally.
You think my campaign for an external review of the Jedi is a personal vendetta?
If you want my honest opinion, yes.
Seriously? You're hiding all the murders and covering up all this shit because you feel personally attacked by a man who has more power than you. Are you starting to see the cracks in this writing? It is awful. This then prompts Senator Chad to go on another rant about the Jedi and give us another reference from the writers to Revenge of the Sith.
I think the Jedi are a massive system of unchecked power, a delusional cult that claims to control the uncontrollable.
He talks about them being a cult controlling the uncontrollable, or claiming to. And Venestra thinks that he's talking about the Force, but he's not talking about the Force. He's talking about emotions.
But it's only a matter of time before one of you snaps. And when, not if that happens, who will be strong enough to stop him?
He says, who will be strong enough to stop him? Who's him? Why is it a him? Oh, it's a him because the writers are referring to Anakin Skywalker, using their meta knowledge of the future of Star Wars when Senator Chad should be making no such proclamations. Now, it kind of does make a little bit of sense from his point of view, but the way it's written, it just sounds like the writers making a cheeky nod and a wink to the future of Star Wars. So I just didn't buy it. She then force opens the door for him and signals him to get the f*** out. He also talks about the Senate tribunal that she'll have to attend shortly, and he hopes that she'll have the suspect in hand by then. We then cut back to the unknown planet with the elephant skin porgs. The little guy's taking a ride there. He seems like he's the happiest motherfucker in the show. Good for him. Good for him. Now, in this scene, we have Osha and Darth Ezra Miller, and they're talking about where they're going to head. And Osha is using her knowledge of the whereabouts of her sister as leverage against Chimere.
So you're really not going to tell me where we're going?
We go together or we don't go at all. That seems fair.
That's actually smart. Good on her. If she gives it up, he might leave her behind or whatever. This is a terrible negotiation, however, because she says it seems fair if they go together or not at all. And his response is this.
Did I give you the impression that I was a fair person?
Well, this is not about you being fair, my guy. It's about her being fair because she has all the knowledge and power in this scenario. So even if you're not a fair person, you have no choice but to listen to her because she knows where to go and you don't. But unexpectedly, she actually does think he's a quite fair gentleman indeed.
Yes, you did. You made a deal with my sister and you expected her to uphold it. That's fair.
She's actually making sense here. I like this. You know what? Maybe she's starting to win me over. Good job. Good job, Osha. He then tries one more time to desperately get her to become his Padawan. Well, it's not the exact last time he's going to try, but he does make an attempt.
Osha, you should be trained. Would you ever consider?
No.
She says no, she'll never consider until she's forced to kill her master later on in the show. So I guess this was a lie, or at least it was a false flag, a red herring. Last chance, Osha. Are you going to say yes?
Last chance.
Told you. I'm not my sister.
Well, you actually are your sister because as we've learned, you guys are the same person just in two bodies somehow. I don't know how that works, but it's pretty dumb.
You're definitely not. May made that deal without even thinking about it.
May made the deal without thinking about it. Well, yeah, you're actually right. Wow, they actually are very different people. It seems like they are not the same person in two different bodies. It seems like that was just made up to sound super cool and powerful. Oh, I don't even know what to say anymore. Anyways, we then get the most ridiculous cameo in all of Star Wars history as who is watching from the shadows? It's none other than Mr. Plagueis himself. Literally in the shadows, watching from their cave. That's their cave. He was in their cave the whole time? Was he just chilling on the ceiling like a bat? Is he like an evil Batman? I don't know. And why is he so creepy? Why? I mean, I guess he's Darth Plagueis. He's supposed to be creepy. But the only cameo we get of him is just him creeping around a corner as they leave. Now, is he the one that caused the vision in the helmet? I guarantee you the writers will say, yes, it was. But I don't know. It's just so stupid. No further explanations. Just a cheap cameo to make you want a second season and to make the show seem more important than it actually should be. Well done, Disney. You ruined Plagueis with 4 seconds of screen time. Never thought I would see the day. I should have, though. And now we're down on the planet of Brendok, and we see that Sol was able to regain control of his ship somehow and seemingly land perfectly fine. I guess the Badger only pulled the wires so that Sol's ship could conveniently malfunction for 10 seconds to bump May's ship so they could both fly down to the planet. I don't know. Sol presses a few buttons in the cockpit, and I believe he actually turns on his transmitter to let the other Jedi know where he is. So he does have a plan to bring the Council, or at least some of the Jedi, to this planet to explain everything. So maybe this is his redemption arc. Sol then uses his ultimate Jedi senses to perhaps locate where May went. Where else is she going to go? She's either going to go to the Bunta Tree or to the village. Nowhere else on this planet would make sense. So you got two choices, my guy. Make it fast. Would have been nice to potentially take the Badger with you, as he has been shown to be able to sniff people out. But I guess he's just going to stay behind on the ship. Now we cut back to Jedi Master Piccolo, aka Lady Shrek, and she's talking to a mysterious voice on the other end of this comm here. Let's listen.
I know he is, but I need to get a message to him. It's urgent.
This is highly unorthodox, but I shall see what I can do.
Who is she talking to? And I do want to know. I don't have the wherewithal to even divulge any details out of this. So if you know what this is in the comments, seriously, I'm asking in a pretty neutral light here. I'm actually curious what this is. I don't know what this is. In perfect timing, Mog shows up again, and he talks about finding Master Soul now that Soul has transmitted his location. They found out he's on Brendok, and Piccolo here wants to prepare the ship with a bunch of Jedi Knights, just in case.
Prepare my ship. Gather as many knights as you can without raising alarm.
You anticipate a confrontation?
A resolution.
A resolution can result from a confrontation, but yeah, she basically just, wants to have extra security just in case there's some danger going down here on Brendok. Makes sense. Nothing too crazy about this scene. We then cut to Kymir and Osha on their ship heading towards Brendok.
All the way back home.
He says all the way back home, and she just cuts off his part of the ship. So he's like left powerless here. I guess, was he controlling the ship before? Because now he seems like he was controlling the ship before. Now all of a sudden he's not. Why wouldn't you do that from the beginning? Do you guys control the ship simultaneously and fight for who gets to, use the joystick? It's a little bit of a sassy moment for her, I guess, without being too political.
There's no spaceport, but there's a landing site near our fortress. They're already there.
Wait, she's using a scanner that can scan for life forms, and she says they're already there. Wait, so the whole time the Jedi were using metal detectors to find forms of life created by the Force. They could have just had this scanner technology to find out where this village of living beings was that probably could have contained people that had knowledge on this vergence in the Force, or people that were taking advantage of this vergence in the Force, or twins who were created from this vergence in the Force. Why did the Jedi not use this technology? Instead, they opt for metal detectors. Why do you put this in your own show? If you just removed this little piece of information about Osha using a life scanner, then maybe you can get away with it inside the bottle of your own show that the Jedi couldn't use a life scanner. But now that this is in their own show, what are we doing? What are we doing? Soul then sees their ship and for some reason gets kind of angry, or at least it looks like he is a little bit angry. And he makes his way around, just having a good old stroll, keeps strolling, and then he shouts for May. And I got flashbacks to John Boyega saying Ray. I just did. But yeah, at least he only says it once. All right. I'll give him that. Soul then hears the echoes of the past as he's walking through the courtyard. And again, more staring and more walking. We then get this little scene of Osha and Kymir walking up to this elevator, the one that the Jedi snuck into and the one that May broke down to trap everybody in.
Getting this elevator operational is the only way in.
Oh, you're going to get the elevator operational. How are you going to do that when the entire circuitry of the village was burnt to a crisp? If you disconnect a battery from your car, you can't hotwire the car. There's no battery. There's no power here. You're not going to get this elevator operational. And then she says, unless you want to climb.
Unless you want to climb.
Are you sure?
And wait, where did Smilo go? Oh, I forgot. He can fly, but she can't. So he pulls a little trick on her and he's like, are you sure? Are you sure we can't just fly, Osha? Oh, a little trolling there from Kymir. I kind of like that little moment. Honestly, it was cheeky. So he flies away and leaves Osha to, climb her way up, I guess. Because like we established, we can't get the elevator activated because the whole power circuitry has burnt to a crisp. Soul then walks up to the bridge where he dropped May and saved Osha, and he gets this creepy woman singing in his head or humming in his head. Not sure if he can hear this too. I don't know. It seems like this place is just freaking him out. Maybe the music was just for the audience's sake, but I felt like it was in his head too. Anyways, he walks away in perfect timing for look who. Oh, it's May. She climbed up the same way she fell down. She found a way to climb up. And it's just oddly perfect timing that Soul had happen to walk away right when she comes up, but that's what this show is. This show is perfectly contrived timing 101. So May found her way up this shaft here, and now she's going to go exploring. And we get another John Boyega callback from Soul as he shouts, May. May! I lied. He did it twice. May then comes upon her old bedroom. And seriously, this is so slow. I am dying trying to rewatch this. Meanwhile, Osha is still at the elevator, and since we know she's a mechanic and skilled with technology, she can magically rewire the elevator and activate the electricity required to power it by connecting two wires together. Yep, that's all you need to do. Let me remind you, folks, if you remove a battery from a car or destroy the battery circuitry, all you need to do is just hotwire the car and everything works again. I'm trying to refrain from being sexist, but go look up who this show is written by. So yeah, the elevator works perfectly for Osha because she connected two wires. And we get more walking around. Can we fast the forward, please? Oh shit. Lightsabers. Finally, something exciting. We get a lightsaber fight between Soul and Chimere. Boom, boom, boom. Now, I'm not going to lie. The choreography inside, when the cameras are cutting everywhere and it's kind of darker, and they're actually moving kind of fast, not bad. I'll give it a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 on the choreography when it comes to the inside fight here. But yeah, finally something exciting is happening in this episode. We then see them walk to the bridge where the arrows were being fired at Jedi Torben last episode. And again, not bad on the choreography. I like the fact that they drag the saber through this metal wall here. Very cool effect, shows the power of the sabers. And it looks great. What doesn't look great is this little shot here where they both jump off the bridge to go fight in the courtyard. If I've ever seen wire work up close and personal, it's this. Look at this. Seriously, pause. This is just, I don't know. They wanted it to be epic in slow motion, but because it's so obviously wire work, when you do it in slow motion, it comes off a lot cornier. I can't describe it. I can't. So just look. Seriously, what the hell was that? I don't know. All of a sudden, I guess Soul has the ability to force float himself back. Maybe he's force pushing against the ground, but I don't know. I didn't know Jedi could fly like that. It's weird. I'll give it a pass. Whatever. I can't even. We then get dialogue that seems to come out of the mouth of a 10-year-old who's playing with his Lego sets, but that would be insulting to the 10-year-old.
I will destroy you if I must.
I will destroy you if I must. Need I say more?
Not if she gets you first.
Oh, but not if she gets you first. Okay, so he's expecting one of the sisters to come and kill him. Boom. Then he turns one saber into two, and he did this in the forest episode. And I gotta say, I do kind of like this whole vibe here. You know, we've seen dual-wield sabers. We've seen dual-bladed sabers. And we've seen standard sabers. We've seen cross-guard sabers with Kylo Ren. But now we see the dagger saber. It's sort of this cool hybrid saber that, honestly, one of the best things to come out of this show. Makes sense as a Sith weapon. Hell, it could even make sense as a Jedi weapon, too. I'd like to see a Jedi with this in the future. I don't know. I can't get enough of, like, the dual-action saber, especially when it has a combination of being, like, a short sword dagger-esque saber and a longer saber. I don't know, just points for being cool there. You know, I'm being positive when I can. They go on to fight further, and Soul is able to disarm at least one of the sabers from Chimere. He then disengages his saber to go for a chest kick. I mean, cool choreography, I guess, but why'd you disable your saber? So you could reactivate it and look cool in these anime poses. He's got both of his sabers back now, and he goes for the saber chuck, but Soul is related to Otani from the Dodgers, and he is batting 1,000. So he's able to, hit the sabers away.
Hit one far, a long way. 3-1.
But Kymir's got a trick up his sleeve, and he's going to boomerang the sabers back around to hit the back of Otani here. Sorry, of Jedi Master Squid Game here. But Jedi Master Squid Game pulls a new power out of his ass and goes full force blast on a bitch. My question is, if you were able to force blast like that the whole time, why do you only pull it out last minute? Wouldn't you start off with your most powerful attacks if you were going to destroy this guy, if you must?
I will destroy you if I must.
Soul then lights his saber up again, and Kymir gets his saber back. So, we're at square one. What was that? What are you swinging at there, buddy? Seriously, he's swinging like a madman at the air as he's running at Soul. Can we run that one back? I have no words for that. It's just hilarious. Like, it would make sense if he was clashing with Soul, but he's not even... He's just like... It just looks ridiculous. Now, anyways, we cut back to the chambers of May and Osha, you know, their room when they were younger, and they have a little meetup here.
All of this death, everything that happened here, all because you didn't want me to become a Jedi.
Yep, that is actually correct. Literally, May locked everybody in and burnt the place to a crisp because she literally didn't want you to leave and become a Jedi. So yeah, that's correct. Let's see what she's got to say about that.
I didn't do this.
You didn't do this? Yeah, we watched you start the fire and we watched you lock everybody in. So what do you mean?
Soul lied to you. He blamed me. Soul never blamed you.
Soul never blamed you.
What happened?
They started a fire.
This is going to be, I can tell, this is going to be the most contrived argument in the show. Soul blamed you for starting the conflict by starting a fire and locking everybody in, causing this chaotic nonsense that didn't need to happen in the first place. And then your moms both became the aggressors, possessing Jedi and turning into shitstorms, Death Eater style, to do what? Attack them? It seemed like it. So I guess Soul was just acting in self-defense, trying to save you both.
She tried to teach me to accept that someone that I love could be capable of this level of destruction.
Okay. A good Jedi lesson. Let's see where this goes from here.
And I failed.
And you failed. I guess you got too angry doing your Jedi tests and you went away to become a mechanic. All right.
So I never became a Jedi. And I guess in the end, you got what you wanted.
I guess May got the fact that Osha never became a Jedi, but she also lost her entire village, her family, and her life. Is that what she wanted? I don't know. She then drops a big bomb on Osha here.
Soul killed our mother.
Yes, he killed the mother, but did you fail to explain that your mothers went on the attack instead of negotiating or settling peacefully with the Jedi? Did you fail to mention that you got super angry and locked everybody in and told them to arm up for a fight? A fight that was never supposed to happen because the Jedi don't just go in with their sabers blazing. They go in and they try to settle things peacefully. They only opened up into the fight because they were being attacked by you guys. So May, again, you're being a lying bitch here. Yeah, Soul didn't tell Osha about him killing her mother because I think he knew that she would never be able to believe him about it the way it went down. So it was better to just leave it at that. Should he have told Osha? Probably, but it was an interesting decision that I can understand. What I can't understand is how May is this stupid. Even though she's grown up, she has no ability to accept the fact that she and her family could be at fault. Now, that is a very human thing, but it just makes me hate May. So I guess May is our antagonist here. Fine. She then goes on to tell Osha that he's the reason why she has all these negative emotions, when in reality, again, it was May and her mothers that caused all of this bullshit. So no, you're trying to convince yourself and her that you're not a guilty motherfucker when you are. I hate May. I hate this show. This causes her to freak out and go like robotic mode. She's like, seriously, what is this acting? Oh, she didn't buy it. Good girl, Osha. You didn't buy in to the bullshit from May. So she goes on this Cobra Kai attack mode and they have a little Matrix fight here in the bedroom. And oh my God, I'm not kidding. Now both girls have been jizzed on by a Pip droid.
Pip!
Maybe they really are the same person in one body.
Pip!
Now it's come full circle. Osha takes one to the face. Boom. Facials all around. Doesn't seem to do much, though, because they go right back to fighting. And look at the choreography here. It's just misses after misses. I don't know. Some of the fighting's really good, like really cool and fast. And then other moments are just like purely aesthetically stupid. Like I want you to look at this little sequence right here. She misses by so much. She was never going to hit her in the first place. And then she does this backflip thing and she goes for a spin kick while her legs are in the air. Seriously, are you trying to predict that her legs are coming down here? And I don't buy the choreography when I slow it down or even when I just pay attention. We then get this epic shot of them scissor kicking, which cuts to the lightsaber fight. Boom. You see that? Replay that one. Scissor kick. Boom. Oh my. Just a fantastic transition. I couldn't have come up with a better one myself. No, honestly, it was kind of a cool transition, but the leg kick was cheesy. Like it just comes off corny in this show.
Now you pay for what you've done.
Now you pay for what you've done. Again, this is 12-year-old Lego set dialogue. I will destroy you. Now you'll pay for what you've done. Like, it is so laughable. Kymir then says that the Jedi are not here for him because I guess he knows that they're going to go after Soul. I don't know how he knows this, but whatever. We then get this funny shot right here as they both stop and look up through the window, or not a window rather, but a hole in the roof, and the Jedi ship passes perfectly over the hole during the middle of their fight. Remember when I talked about contrivances in timing on this show? Everything happens so that the camera can get a good shot without like any justification. Now, this is a nitpick on my end, but it happens so much in this show that it starts to take you out of the show. It's a cool shot, but when you stack up these contrived timings, it just starts to get old, especially in a show with not much meat on its bones. In that short time that they were looking up, May found a way to disappear. I guess she's taken one from Kymir's book. Atta girl. We then get more lightsaber fighting, and then Kymir uses his helmet finally, like he did in the previous episodes, to deactivate Soul's lightsaber. But in perfectly contrived timing, it only affects Soul's lightsaber for about 0.2 seconds. Whereas in the other episodes, it affected the sabers for far longer. So I guess the cortosis only works as good as the plot needs it to, so that Soul can stay alive in this fight. I also feel like his saber was so close to Soul's that his own saber would have deactivated at the same time. Anyways, like I said, look how long or short Soul's saber goes out for. Seriously, 0.2 seconds, allowing him to turn it back on immediately and cut Kymir's saber in half and hold his stance like a true anime Chad. We then get our first glimpse at a Kyber crystal, revealing that the crystal is red in Kymir's saber, indicating that dark side users do have bleeding crystals or red crystals. Nice little detail. I like that. What can I say? Soul then has all the time in the world to strike down Kymir while he can, which, by the way, like we just mentioned, he has a red Kyber crystal, which the Jedi know relate back to dark side users. So if he just kills Kymir while he has the chance here, he can use not only the dead body, the cortosis helmet, and the Kyber crystal all as evidence to get away from being blamed for all this nonsense, which is Vernestra's plan. She's actually here to blame Soul for everything. So again, Soul has all this time, but all he does is hold Kymir at saber point long enough so that May can come in and save the day. And now May has the saber, and Osha's vision is a reality. Remember, she said that May was holding a saber, going to kill Soul. So here we are, full circle. Kymir then tells her she's a good girl.
Good, May. Feel your anger. This is the source of your pain.
Yes, this is the source of your pain. The man who killed your mother. It's all very dark-sidey, whatever, fine. But she throws the saber away.
What the f?
And we see that the inside of Soul's saber has a blue crystal. Not sure how throwing a saber and the outside of it hitting a metal object breaks the inside emitter chamber, but it did. So it reveals that there is a blue kyber crystal in the saber. Again, kind of a cool detail. I like when they show, more detailed shots of the inner workings of sabers and stuff. It's interesting. Chimere then urges May to take the final step.
Strike him down, and your journey will be complete.
But here's the thing. She threw the saber, so striking him down would mean what? Judo chopping him? Going to retrieve the saber and then striking him down? Force choking him? What does strike him down mean when she just threw her weapon away? I guess strike him down is just a metaphor for killing him in any way possible. But you only have a couple options. You grab the saber and strike him down, or you force choke him. And to me, both of those are kind of killing with a weapon. A force choke, using the force as a weapon. A, lightsaber is a literal weapon. So I guess the whole kill without a weapon thing is just meant to sound edgy and cool and complex, when in reality it makes no sense at all. Because arguably, the force is a more powerful weapon than anything ever. So, I don't know, the whole kill without the weapon thing is just crazy. It's crazy. But no. No, literally no. May refuses. And now she wants to go all goody two-shoes, and she's on the side of the law.
I want him to confess what he did. I want him to face the High Council, the Senate, the Republic.
She wants Soul to face the council and go through trials and do this the right way all of a sudden.
I want him to pay for his crimes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you want him to pay for his crimes. Makes sense. But the thing is, it doesn't, because he didn't commit any crimes. He killed in self-defense dark side witches that were possessing Jedi and turning into shitstorms, and even attempting to disapparate into the Force with a young girl, seemingly from the eyes of the Jedi. That was them performing dark magic, dangerous magic, deadly magic on children, and perhaps even killing the children, sacrificing the children into the Force. We don't know what the heck was going on there. Neither does Soul. So if the Senate puts him through a trial and he gets his mind read by anyone on the High Council, especially somebody like Yoda, Yoda would see through the Force, and he would come to an understanding that, yes, Soul maybe deserves to be stripped of his rank of master from not telling the truth, but he wouldn't be prosecuted much beyond that, because in reality, the whole situation was caused by a giant misunderstanding and an aggressive action taken by the witches. And by May here, who, if her mind gets read, we're going to see that she said, "I will kill you." And then she started the fire. And then she said, "Nobody gets out." So she was part of the problem from the beginning. She's going to have no evidence, no proof to put Soul through a trial. It's just outrageous. So you don't have many options here, May. Your best bet is to kill Soul and go with Chimere if you want Soul to face any sort of justice in your eyes, because you're not getting it from the Senate. You're just not. But again, May's just a stupid idiot, and she can't really see this.
I want him to pay for his crimes.
I did the right thing.
He did the right thing. Exactly, Soul. You did the right thing. I'm on your side, guy. Soul then goes on to explain himself in the most vague terms possible so that nobody can actually understand his deeper meaning.
I wanted to protect you both.
From what?
You're not twins.
Wait, she just asked you what you were protecting them from, and now you're just going to describe what they are instead of elaborating? This is your mock trial here in the courtyard with May, and you're going to fumble the bag here. Oh my.
You and the ocean are the same person.
No, they're not the same person. You say that, and your Virgins reading on the iPad says that, but they're very different people, as Chimere has stated.
Last chance.
Told you, I'm not my sister.
You're definitely not.
So this whole "you're the same person" thing, it doesn't really make any sense outside of the fact that they just state it to be true. It doesn't hit home when they talk about this at all.
I don't know how your mother did it.
Yeah, we don't know how this all works either, Soul. We're just as lost as you in the show. I think the writers are too.
How she did what?
She created life.
Boom! She did it. She created lives. So at least we know that now. Anakin was not the first. It was the sisters. And the witches are more powerful than Plagueis because Plagueis failed, and the Force kind of struck back at him by creating Anakin outside of his control. So, interesting. Boom!
I believe she used the Force to create you and Osha.
There it is. The Force was used to create them. So, all you guys saying this doesn't mess with canon, well, it kind of does.
Do you have any idea what kind of power that is?
Do you have any idea what kind of power that is? No, none of us do. We don't really know. He then goes on, he keeps monologuing about this Vergence thing instead of explaining the whole scenario.
In the history of the galaxy, very few have been that powerful.
She asked him, why did you kill my mother? And all he can say is, she created you. No. Soul, go back and talk about the actual physical scenario you were in that courtyard on that day as to why the events went down the way they all did. You're not understanding, my guy. Anyways, the show has him do this long enough so that our girl Osha can come out here and turn against Soul.
And you killed her. You killed our mother.
Yes, we get it. He killed the mother. This has been stated so many times in the show. Can we have a meaningful conversation, please? I don't know. Spit it out. Come on. We already know it's true. She knows it's true. Why is this such an epic confession? You guys were both there. She watched it happen. Why is this an epic confession? The only reason he needed to say it out loud is, again, so that Osha could hear it. And here she is. And what does she come and do? She comes and asks him more questions, and he fails to answer with anything more substantive than it was the right thing to do. I was protecting you.
I was protecting you. It was the right thing to do.
Yes, we get it, but go over the details. Tell her what the mother was doing with the possession of Kelnaka, with the arming of all of her guards, pointing bows and shooting at Torben and getting ready to fight and disapparating into the Force, turning into these demon shit clouds. Tell them all this, because all it sounds like to Osha is that you killed the mother for no other reason than you thought it was the right thing. Why did you think it was the right thing to do? He never gets to talk.
I did what I thought was best for you. I did everything because I love.
Yep. He gets cut off literally by the Force, by a Force choke from Osha here, who has all of a sudden reconnected with her ability to use the Force. Now, I don't know why this is. You could justify it by saying she's back on her home planet and the Vergence is strong with her, or she's tapping into her dark side energy now. Whatever. It was very sudden, and just like Sabine in Ahsoka, she just learns to use the Force pretty quickly here and goes for one of the most powerful dark side moves right away, even using the Vader finger.
Stop talking.
You know, the little hand gesture that he does to Force choke. Yeah, she's got that going on too. And even when he's not talking, she tells him to stop talking.
Stop talking.
And what does she do? Well, she simultaneously kills Soul by Force choking him while bleeding the crystal red in the lightsaber. Not sure how she knew how to bleed the crystal red. Maybe it's just a natural reaction. Let me know in the comments. And he also gives up his life to her, telling her it's okay to kill me.
It's okay.
So he gets choked out, and now Osha is the Acolyte. But what does she do? She goes for an instant kill on Chimere with the bleeding red saber. But Chimere's faster. She misses. But this is what he wanted all along. He finally got his wish. He gets a Padawan. He gets an Acolyte. And May sees this, and she looks somewhat horrified, but she's going to go along with it. We then get the Jedi arriving finally in perfect timing right after all of the main drama happened. These Jedi get here. So again, perfectly contrived timing is a theme of this show. And Vernestra steps off the ship here, and she senses in the Force her Padawan from the past.
You.
aka Chimere. As we saw, he had the light whip, markings on his back from being beaten by Vernestra and left out like a dog to go become a Darksider. But yeah, she senses him. Again, here's the thing. Jedi are always so good at sensing people and exactly where they are just when the plot needs them to be able to do it. It's just strange. Like, I don't know. None of the Jedi could sense any life forms like the witches who are strong with the Force or the twins. They couldn't sense them even with all their iPads and metal detectors. And then when Sol was entering the village, he could sense and hear a conversation through the entire village on that one episode.
You can't go. We're stuck here now.
Anyways, they take Basil Beaver here and the rest of the Jedi squad, and they make their way to the village. Anyways, Chimere sensed that he was sensed, so he puts his helmet back. Chimere sensed that he was sensed, so he puts his helmet back on and goes to hide in the shadows. And May and Osha find a way to escape, and they go to the same place to where May climbed up earlier. Obviously, that was her way in, so it's going to be their way out. We're going to finally find out how she survived that fall, and I promise you it's worth it.
When I felt I got sucked into this core tunnel.
Yep, a ventilation shaft. I think they went into the ventilation shaft.
Sir, they've gone up the ventilation shaft.
Yeah, okay. At least in the prequels, the ventilation shafts were used with a purpose. Now they're just a plot convenience or a plot hole. Literally, I like to call these plot holes. They're not plot holes, but they're a hole for the plot to use. Just like the hole that Osha climbed through to escape the fire, there's a convenient hole for May to climb through to escape falling to her death in that same episode. So these girls just love climbing in dark holes. Nice job, Leslie. But anyways, yeah, apparently she fell hundreds of feet down and was sucked into this vacuum ventilation shaft magically without being harmed. It just perfectly sucked her in, and they're able to use this shaft to climb down and escape the village. The Jedi make their way into the courtyard and they see Sol on the ground. Vernestra gets these echoes from the day that Sol took out the mother and saved Osha. So I'm pretty sure she's clued in on this whole situation. She at least gets some details here from the Force. So interesting to see how she'll use those, or how she won't, or how she'll hide everything from everybody and blame Sol for all of this, which is going to happen. She even hears the witch possessing Kelnaka.
We should not have brought him here. Kelnaka, no!
Get the twins.
Another sign that Sol was fighting evil dark side users, or at least evil people in general. So yeah, Vernestra knows everything by this point. And don't forget, Mog is also a master Jedi Sherlock Holmes himself, and he can get pretty powerful echoes sensed out of locations. So he probably knows a lot of shit too. But who's lurking in the shadows? It's Smilo Ren himself. Don't know why he's lurking instead of getting the fuck out of there, because is he going to really take on that many Jedi? I mean, he already did once, so he can probably do it again. We then get the world's slowest chase scene through the forest, as Basil is using the scent of Osha or May, I think, to track one of them. Anyways, they're the same person in two different bodies, so it wouldn't matter, right? But yeah, they make their way to the Bunta tree. This scene is basically the sisters reconciling and coming to a consensus, apologizing for everything. And they talk about the fire and that tragic day when they were kids.
Sorry I didn't believe you. I'm sorry I started that fire.
They then go on to recite the little poem or whatever they do. You know, that shit.
You are with me. I am with you. Who taught us that rhyme?
Who taught us that rhyme? I thought you wrote it.
I thought you made it up.
Yeah, me too. That's what I thought. Anyways, here comes Chimere using the Force to get his saber back.
If I can find you, so can the Jedi.
Or Sol's saber, I guess. Is that Sol's saber? And then we get the world's slowest chase with Basil. Why aren't you guys sprinting out here? So this is where Osha wants to turn herself into the Jedi and explain what Sol did.
We'll explain what Sol did.
I guess you're going to have to blame everything on Sol and say that he went out of his way to attack you. I mean, it makes sense that the Jedi would buy this now because he's dead and can't speak for himself, can't have his mind read. So maybe not a bad plan, especially after he went rogue and turned off his comms and went to Brendok randomly. So not a bad plan from Osha here, but Kymir sways her away from this plan.
Even after everything, you put your faith in the Jedi. Osha, when they find out how powerful you are.
But again, this reminds me, when they find out how powerful you are, if they just read Osha's mind, which breaks this whole show, that ability that they have, they would find out that Osha is a dark side girl who force choked the shit out of Soul. Now, also, if Vernestra could sense that, 16 years ago, shit went down on this planet, could she not sense that 60 seconds ago, Soul was force choked by a dark side user who bled a kyber crystal red? Where does her abilities lie? Can she only sense things that happened 16 years ago? That doesn't make any sense.
We will meet the same fate as our mother. What do we do?
Yeah, what do you do? What do we do here? What's the master plan, May?
What do you want, Osha?
In true female fashion, they defer the question right back to each other. But no, May is now the protagonist, and she's going to sacrifice herself so that Kymir and Osha can escape to live happily ever after on the unknown planet. Literally.
Let my sister go, and I will train with you. The Jedi will use me to find you.
The Jedi will use me to find you, so Kymir says he's going to erase her mind. Mind wipe. A new trick he's unlocked.
I can attempt to wipe her memory. Remove any trace of you or me.
So Kymir does this, and it works perfectly fine. And now May has regressed back to her 10-year-old form from 16 years ago, 8-year-old, whatever she was, and she'll not remember anything past the events of her family's passing. She's not going to remember her training. She's not going to remember seeing Soul choked out. She's basically going to be regressed back to that stage in her memory. It would have been funny to have her start acting like a little girl again, but no, it's just her memory, not her actual, aura, if you will. I mean, that would really mess somebody up, right? Like, damn. And what did we say about perfectly contrived timing? The Jedi arrive just in time for Kymir and Osha to get away from the Bunta tree, make their escape, and only May is left, of course, as the sacrificial lamb. They order her to surrender.
Lay down any weapons that you have and surrender. You're under arrest.
You're under arrest, but she has no clue what she did.
What did I do?
I really do like the fact that Kymir had that solution. It was probably the only solution that they could have come up with other than all three of them running away. I guess they could have all three ran away, but May wanted to kind of just sacrifice herself and have a character arc of sorts, so that's fine. Whatever. They then take May back to Coruscant to convene with the other Jedi, be interrogated, and they have her in these cuffs. You see right there, those are the cuffs. And they bring her into the office of Vernestra. Now, May is a huge suspect in this whole Jedi murder case. So that's why they have her in cuffs. That's why they arrested her. They've been tracking her down from the beginning of this show. They know she killed Indara. So even if she doesn't remember what she did, I'm pretty sure that they at least knew she was responsible for the murder of Indara. Maybe they think she's Osha. I don't know. But she does have that marking that she'd had originally in the beginning of the show. So it's very unclear where exactly she stands outside of the fact that they potentially think she's one of the main suspects. But what do? They let her into this room with the Jedi and they remove her restraints.
Remove her restraints.
Seriously, why are you removing the restraints from her? Why are you showing signs of trusting her in front of the other Jedi? It doesn't make any sense to remove her restraints. It's maybe just a stupid callback to, I don't know, another Star Wars movie. Where do they say that in another Star Wars movie?
You no longer need those.
It's dumb that they have the restraints removed when she's potentially a Jedi killer.
Do you know why you're here?
They say I killed someone.
They say I killed someone. So yes, she is on trial. She is being persecuted for killing Jedi. Or at least some of the Jedi are convinced that she did this. But again, she doesn't remember. So she's going to get off scot-free because Vernestra needs her. And what does she need her for? Well, she needs her to help her find an old friend.
I need you to help me find someone.
Who?
I A pupil of mine before he turned to evil.
A pupil of mine before he turned to evil. Now, we've established that she can't even remember her sister.
Does the name Osha mean anything?
So how the hell is she going to remember anything, any detail surrounding Chimere, who she also forgot, aka the pupil? How is she going to help you find him? Is it because the writers want to put Amandla in season 2, so they wrote this into the script? That's exactly what it is, because she has no value to Vernestra now that her memory is wiped. She's as useless as an 8-year-old girl, literally. It makes no sense. But I haven't rewinded and told you guys the most important detail of the ending of the show yet. So let's take it back a second. So in this interrogation, May and Vernestra are talking about Soul.
I'm seeing a man. He killed my mother.
That man who killed your mother was a Jedi.
The man who killed your mother was a Jedi. Yes, we know this. But what's the importance here?
He was a kind, brilliant, compassionate man.
Okay, we get it. He was an amazing Jedi, an amazing dude. Great guy Soul was, yes. But what's going on? What are you gonna tell us about Soul?
And he did a terrible thing.
Oh, he did a terrible thing. What did he do? Did he lie? That's kind of bad, but what else did he do?
16 years ago, 4 Jedi were stationed on the planet Brendok.
No.
There, they discovered a force cult of witches.
Okay, technically correct. And?
Recently, when the truth threatened to come out, a rogue Jedi named Soul killed his accomplices.
Oh my God. Yep, cat's out of the bag, guys. Vernestra has blamed Soul, who's dead and cannot, account for anything, defend himself. A perfect scapegoat now that Chimere, Osha are gone. May has no memory. Soul's dead. Vernestra can cleanly blame the whole thing on Soul. She tells the Senate here and any other members of the Jedi Council who are privy to this conversation that, we had a rogue Jedi named Soul. He tried to cover up his little skirmish with the witches by killing all of the Jedi who were involved. Now, I guess the Senate are not going to ask any further questions as to how Soul was clearly not around when Indara died. He was clearly not around when Torben died because he was with other Jedi who will then be able to vouch and say, wait, this Shrek lady is saying that Soul's responsible for killing Torben, but Torben slew slidered himself with poison while Soul was with us. So how does this even make any sense? I get the Kelnaka. Kelnaka could be blamed on Soul easily. And he could have force choked himself out, I guess, if that's a thing. But Indara and Torben are two very, easily disprovable cases where Soul was not involved with their murder. So how does this just fly with the Senate and fly with all of the Jedi who were involved, who will probably be called upon in this huge murder trial case against one of their own? And now this makes the Jedi look even worse to the Senate, which is what Vernestra didn't want in the first place. So you're doing a cover-up job for a cover-up job, and your whole reason was that you didn't want the Senate to be investigating you and thinking poorly of you. But now, A, you're blaming it on a rogue Jedi who killed himself and 3 others, which is going to harm the reputation of the Jedi in general, no matter what. And B, if anybody starts to find out that you're a filthy little liar, you're done for too. So now you've just escalated this problem for yourself, and it's utterly ridiculous, makes no sense. But because this show needs to wrap up, the Senate doesn't ask really any questions. And she then goes to visit one last cameo, but not before Osha and Chimere can have their final moment holding hands, looking onto the sunset, happily ever after. Seriously, are these supposed to be the protagonists of the show? Like, look at how this is shot. This is a total protagonist shot. A dreamy looking sunset on an unknown planet, a man and a woman with inspiring music in the background as they look upon the sunset. Dumbest thing ever. Oh my. But like I said, Vernestra has to visit the final cameo boss. And who is it? None other than Master Yoda.
Sorry to disturb you, Master. We need to talk.
Holy shit. This was it. This broke me. This was it. This was the dumbest thing I've yet to see in Disney Star Wars. With each episode, I keep saying that it gets dumber and dumber. And the show, as it stacks on more contrivances, more bullshit, more flaws in logic, it just beats me down, man. And on my stream, I said, you know what? That's not Yoda. That actually is the ball acolyte. I mean, he's got those little pubes on his head. Sorry to disrespect Yoda, but this show is now making him an accomplice in all of this because he would have been able to see through this bullshit. There's no fooling Yoda like this, unless you're Palpatine. There's no fooling Yoda, I feel like. So now he's tangled up in all this mess, and his legacy is even more mired than it was previous. And I don't know. I don't like the key jangling going on in this show, and I have no other words left other than maybe 2 out of 10 for this episode because there was some cool dialogue moments here and there. And a couple lightsaber fights, whatever. You get a 2 out of 10. Graciously, I'm giving you an extra 1 out of 10. It should be a nothing out of 10. That's an extra 2, actually. I'm being so generous with my rating this week, giving it a 2 out of 10. But honestly, I'm taking that 1 away. We're going back to 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10 on the episode because you brought Yoda into this. You just had to bring Yoda into this. If you left him out, I would have gave this a 2 out of 10. But my mind is now falling back on the 10% rating. So before I lose my voice, I've been recording this for a couple hours, rewatching the episode and speaking into the microphone for you all. Now I have to go edit for about 5 or 6 more hours and post this hopefully ASAP. But before that, I'm going to have some food and take a good old cat nap. Either way, this has been the Ball Acolyte final episode review. And I love you guys, 3,000. Thanks for sticking through this treachery with me. I don't know. Not much else to say, but I love you, 3,000. Have a great day.